Well, starting with some breaking news now coming in, reports coming in of an earthquake in Srinagar. Tremors that have been felt across North India. We'll try and get you more details. That's the latest coming in from Srinagar with regards to an estimated magnitude of 5.5 earthquake. Affected countries are India, Pakistan, Tajikistan and Afghanistan. The epicenter happens to be 10 kilometers from Arandu in Pakistan. The reported time was around 7:56 in the evening. Tremors have also been felt in various parts of North India. In fact, we're also getting in reports that tremors have been felt in Chandigarh and parts of Jammu and Kashmir. Earthquake that has been felt in various parts of the valley. This was around 7:57 in the evening. Zenith is joining us on the broadcast right now. Zenith, just walk us through the details that you're getting in right now.
Because of the earthquake, this was for around 30 to 40 seconds, and many of the people have went outside their homes. Although despite the harsh chill and the harsh weather, we are seeing the people on the roads after they felt tremors in the Kashmir Valley. The reports suggest further that the tremors have also been felt in northern India.
Well, in fact, Zenith, the more details that we're also getting in is from Chandigarh right now. There have been tremors that have been felt across North India. Is there any other confirmation that you're getting in from the official sources with regards to the epicenter of the earthquake?
See, as far as it's a 5.8 magnitude earthquake that jolts Jammu and Kashmir, and the epicenter is Hindu Kush region, and we are picking up that exact timing of it was 7:55 and the depth of it is 189 kilometers.
Well, thank you very much for getting us the latest details. Zenith, we'll also try and go across to our reporters Amandeep in Chandigarh, who's also reporting that the tremors have been felt in Chandigarh. That's the latest that we're getting in. We'll stay with the breaking news that we're getting in right now. No reports of any damages or casualties. We're waiting for an official confirmation to also come in. We'll try and go across once again to Zenith for the latest details. Zenith, with regards to any damages, any reports that are coming in, perhaps it would be a little too early, but what is the preliminary assessment?
The preliminary assessment suggests that it's a 5.8 magnitude earthquake that jolts, and the epicenter has been Hindu Kush region. As of now, we are not picking up any reports as far as the damage or any injury is concerned, but definitely it has caused fear among the locals here, and many parts of the downtown city of Srinagar. People went outside their homes. And now we are seeing that although there have been many alerts that have been coming in asking the people not to fear, but it's a 5.8 magnitude earthquake that has been reported and jolted there, Jammu and Kashmir, and the epicenter has been in the Kush region.
Well, in fact, Zenith, I'll request you to stay on with us. We're getting in also the latest visuals from Srinagar. Officials also indicating that the epicenter happens to be the Hindu Kush region in Afghanistan, and the timing is around 7:53 in the evening. It's a 5.8 magnitude earthquake that has jolted Jammu and Kashmir and various parts of North India. Reports also coming in from Delhi as well as in Chandigarh. These are the latest images that you're on your screens right now of the situation in Srinagar. My colleague Zenith is also joining us on this broadcast. We'll just make the correction that as per the official records, the earthquake was reported around 7:53 this evening, and the epicenter happens to be in the Hindu Kush region in Afghanistan. That's the latest that we're getting in. Let's also go back once again to Zenith, and we'll also try and bring in Amandeep on the broadcast to get us the latest details. As of now, no reports of any casualties or, for that matter, any damages. Zenith, if you could just quickly recap for our viewers all that we know so far.
See, Shawan, what we're picking as of now, it's a 5.8 earthquake that has been witnessed in Jammu and Kashmir, that jolted Jammu and Kashmir. The epicenter has been Hindu Kush region in Afghanistan, and it was exactly reported somewhere around 7:55 6:55 p.m. and it was a tremor of around 30 to 40 seconds. People in downtown Srinagar, they came out from their home, although there had been a flare that has been caused in the downtown Srinagar. Meanwhile, we are also picking up that there has been an alert from the administration asking the people not to worry about anything as far as the damage or to the property is concerned. There has not been any damage that has been reported as of now.
Well, in fact, these are the visuals, two sets of images that we have at this point in time of moments after the earthquake and the latest details. Once again, just a quick recap of what we know so far. The earthquake that was reported around 7:53 in the evening, and the epicenter happens to be the Hindu Kush region. As of now, there is no report coming in of any casualty or, for that matter, any damages. Joining me on this broadcast is also my colleague Deepthi, just walking us through the details that we're getting in right now.
Yes, and Shravan, it's not just Jammu and Kashmir, like Zeenat mentioned. I think a large part of North India has actually felt these tremors. If you just go to social media, you'll realize that a lot of people in the Delhi NCR region have also said that they felt these tremors. Now, 5.8 is a pretty strong earthquake if you look at on the Richter scale. And if you recall, I think it was just about 3 to 4 days ago, close to the New Year's Eve, where the Ladakh region had also reported an earthquake. I think then the magnitude was said to be about 4.3 if I'm not wrong. So that was a relatively lighter earthquake. Now the epicenter, like you mentioned, is in the Hindu Kush region. What we are also, I think, playing out on our screens right now, images that are coming in from different parts of especially the North India belt, where you have seen and felt these earthquake tremors. And, Shravan, whenever there is an earthquake, the next obvious thing for people to do is, they run out to a safer place. And because this is like just moments earlier, I think these will be the initial pictures on our screens that are coming in, where people just for a few seconds, I think, felt those tremors. They realized it was an earthquake and they rushed to safety. Especially, I think, in a region like the Delhi NCR region, Shravan, where you have a lot of high-rise buildings. That is the first response of people, whether you're working, in buildings that are obviously high-rise, multiple floors. And I think these are images right now playing out from Delhi, if I'm not wrong, on our screens. Tremors also felt in Delhi, in Faridabad, in the Chandigarh region. And it's a 5.8 magnitude that has been reported as far as the initial information is concerned. Chandigarh, the national capital, are all regions, Shravan, that have also reported these tremors.
Well, in fact, we're talking about areas which are in the high seismic zone. As of now, luckily, there have been no reports of any casualties or damages, but we'll have to wait for an official confirmation to come in from the authorities. Given the fact that the epicenter happens to be in Afghanistan, in the Hindu Kush region. Cities in Pakistan have also felt the tremors, is what we are picking up at this point in time. The images that you see right now, Deepthi, there are multiple sets of images that have come in from the city of Srinagar as well as in the national capital. We'll try and also go across to our reporters on the ground to get you the latest information and also get an assessment of the situation right now, because as we understand, the disaster management of Chandigarh has already responded as of now with saying that there have been no such casualties or, for that matter, any reports of damages in the city. That's the latest we are getting in. And we'll also try and get in more details. As of now, the National Center for Seismology has also put out the intensity map. Perhaps we could also play that out in a short while from now. The magnitude of the earthquake is about 5.8 on the Richter scale, and the timing, as per the official records, is 7:53 in the evening. And the spread, if as we understand, is the affected countries happens to be Afghanistan, Pakistan, as well as in India. The concentration essentially being in northern India on your screens right now. That's the National Center for Seismology's the map, the intensity map that has been put out. Remember, there have been also reports of earthquakes just about a couple of days ago. We'll try and also go across some more details now coming in. Deepthi, perhaps we can also take some of the details that have been put out by the National Centre, which gives you the details of the exact origin time, the latitude and longitude, the magnitude and the depth. The cities that have been affected as of now, we're being told is Islamabad, Peshawar, Lahore in Pakistan. As far as India is concerned, mostly northern states that have been affected. Let's also go across to our reporters. Gursimran is joining us from Jammu, one of the affected regions. Gursimran, if you can just walk us through the details that you have at this point in time. Any official word that is coming in?
See, Shavan, I spoke to some of the IMD officials in Jammu, and they said that the part of almost 10 of the districts of Jammu region, they have been impacted. However, the impact was not as it was in the point of magnitude from where it has occurred. It was a slight magnitude that has occurred here. However, they are trying to figure out more details. And speaking about the impact, there has not been any casualties or any damage that has been reported so far to any of the concerned police stations or the police control rooms in any of the 10 districts of the Jammu region. And in the Kashmir Valley, the tremors were far more stronger than it was felt in the Jammu region. And also in the parts of Punjab, there have been reports of earthquake at around 7:59 is the time when it has been reported. Now, the all PCRs, police control rooms, have been activated by the Jammu and Kashmir police so as to ensure that there is no human loss or a loss of any property that has taken place, because Jammu and Kashmir falls under the severe category when it comes to the earthquake. And in 2005, the earthquake has done havoc in Jammu and Kashmir, taking away hundreds of lives in the Uri and in the nearby area. So the administration is on the alert, and all the police control rooms have been put on the standby to ascertain if there is any damage. Shavan.
Well, we'll try also go across to Zira for the latest details. Thank you very much, Gursimran, for getting us the latest details. We'll be shifting focus to the other big story that we've been tracking through the day. The campaign that was started by Republic TV, leading to the government finally taking note of it. Well, there's a lookout circular that has already been issued against Shekhar Mishra. Remember, he's now been tracked by the Delhi police after the FIR that was registered by them. We're now being told that multiple teams have already been sent out by the Delhi police. This after the crew members have also been interrogated by the Delhi police. As of now, the lookout circular primarily keeping in mind that the accused has not cooperated with the investigation. He hasn't responded to the summons that have been sent out by the Delhi police. And this is essentially to prevent him from leaving the country, given the fact that he's a Mumbai-based businessman who works in a company based out of New York. Essentially, the Delhi police suspects that there could be a possibility of him leaving the country. But Delhi police essentially quite confident about the fact that they would be in a position to nab the accused as soon as possible if he does not respond to the summons that have been issued. So far, what we know in terms of the investigation that's been carried out, once the complaint was actually registered by the general manager of Air India, a 5-line complaint that was put out on the 29th of December is when the first set of summons were basically sent out. Delhi police had asked the pilot as well as other crew members to participate in the investigation. They were asked to appear today. As of now, what we've learned is that the pilot hasn't really responded to the summons. The accused has also not responded to the summons that have been sent out by the Delhi police. But after the campaign that was started by Republic TV, essentially the Ministry of Civil Aviation has also responded. Let me also bring in my colleague Deepthi, who's been tracking the story very closely. Deepthi, two aspects of it. One, the fact that the government has finally woken up to the campaign that has been started by Republic TV. This is all about passenger rights. But what has essentially transpired is the fact that one would say that not enough was actually done by the airline, and also the fact that passenger rights have been completely flouted.
Oh yes, and I think not just this, but right now we should keep our focus on just one question: that what happens next? Whether this pervert, this creep, is going to be booked whether, what kind of charges will be put on, slapped against this man, I think. The second question, Shravan, is that how soon will we see an intervention by the ministry? Because the ministry actually needs to step in here. You have an airline like, Air India that actually decides to not just report this case, they try to hush this up. They tried to broker some kind of peace between the complainant in spite of the fact that she goes on record to say, I wanted this man to be arrested. She time and again, because we've accessed that complaint, she indicates that she does not want any settlement, but she is forced. What about the captain? The captain was in the know. What about the crew? What did the crew do? What are the standard operating procedures in an issue like this? And clearly all of that has been flouted. I think we also have our colleague Harsha, who's been getting us a lot of exclusive input on that big story. Let's quickly cut across to her. Harsha, where about you at this point in time? And the story has moved very, very fast considering the immense amount of pressure, so much outcry. People today are only and only talking about this story, Harsha. They want to know, where is this pervert? How soon will this man be booked?
Exactly. This pervert, this man with a sick mentality, where is he? Police is on the go to nab this accused, and he's time by time changing his location. Police is there and police is trying hard, and Delhi police have already traced many of the locations of this accused, and they've already issued the LOC. The lookout circular has already been issued for the accused so that he doesn't leave the country. And now we are getting to know that we were talking about that how influential this person is. So he holds a very big position. He's a vice president in Wells Fargo, not a small company, very big company, and such a low mentality and a sick mentality. And the pervert who did this incident in the airline on board mid-air, and he has to pay for what he did. And this is a justice which even the victim was talking about, that he should be jailed. Now the accused who is on the go, sooner Delhi police will nab him, because a team of Delhi police has already reached many locations and they are already tracking him down. And Delhi police is very confident that they will nab him and bring him to Delhi, where he will be interrogated and investigated that why he did this incident. And he's not even sorry about it. Just the apology which he was giving to a female co-passenger while the plane was landing. Is it enough? And the 30 days punishment by the airlines, is it enough?
But Harsha, what about Air India?
And right now
Harsha, what about Air India? Even Air India cannot just tell us that, listen, we had an apology and we did not report the case. The point is that even Air India here needs to be accountable. They clearly did not go by the rule book.
Exactly. If you read the complaint of the victim, in the entire complaint, she has basically in the details she has told what exactly happened with her. The crew member, the staff, the senior attendant, the pilot, the group captain, not even one have the apathy with the female passenger. They gave the crew member seat to her while the seats in the luxury and business class were vacant. And there was only one passenger who was sitting next to her in the 8B was on her side and was again and again asking to the crew member that please give the woman the luxury seat, the business class seat, and they were not providing. They just said no, you will have to take the crew seat, and they just provided her the pajamas. They just spread the disinfectant. They didn't even touch the clothes, bags and shoes of the female passenger. And at the end they were saying that this passenger is apologizing to you, this accused is apologizing to you, do not complain against him, ma'am. And that fellow passenger, the accused, the unruly passenger, was saying that I am a family man. After doing this, that he was saying that he's a family man, and the airlines for 1 month didn't take any cognizance. On the 28th of December, they came to this police station, just lodged a complaint, which is only a 5-line complaint, which was filed by A.N. Kulkarni, the General Manager, Legal Department of Air India. And right now he's also not speaking. The Air India is trying to cover up the entire incident. They have waken up after 39 days. They are surely responsible for this entire incident. They have broken the law of the Airlines Act. The act which says that there are provisions which the airlines have to handle when such unruly passenger performs such incident. But they didn't do any. They didn't complain to the DGCA. They didn't complain to the airline management. Nothing. They woke up when she complained to the Tata Group chairman regarding all this. Then the action was taken. Then they came here to file a FIR on the basis of the victim. This is what we are seeing, and right now also they are trying to cover up and suppress this entire issue. They are responsible. Therefore, Civil Aviation Ministry has also sought the report. DGCA is asking for a fact-finding report, and everyone is asking that what sort of behavior is this of the airlines and the airlines crew. Back to you.
Yes. Absolutely. Harsha, there are so many questions. People today are really agitated, and this is why I think the government, the DGCA, the regulator needs to step in and actually set an example, because the word needs to go out loud and clear that this kind of a behavior can absolutely not be tolerated. Air India has no authority to broker peace between the two, when you had the lady herself saying, Harsha, that she wants this man to be arrested. We'll keep our focus on that big story. Harsha, for the moment, thank you so much for getting us that live reportage.
Airborne pervert controversy gets bigger. Why did Air India go slow on pervert? Is there an attempt to protect in-flight pervert? Arnab debates at 9 p.m.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the biggest story. This is the story that all of you have been talking about, speak about, and you're really worried. What if, for a moment, just think, instead of this senior citizen, it was a mother? It was anyone known to you. If this is the way that she was assaulted, she was harassed, what would you have done? This is a reason why the story is extremely important, because it's not just the assault that the senior citizen goes through, it's the entire cover-up. It is the entire muted coverage by a few who do not want to talk about this case. What happened that day on the Air India flight? And Republic, remember, has been on the top of that story. This is the complaint letter accessed by Republic, detailing blow by blow what really happened with this lady. And a lot of highlights that you have seen all through the day today here on Republic. But the biggest fact is, this complainant, this senior citizen, wanted this man to be arrested, because he urinates upon her, then he flashes himself, and then the crew does nothing. The crew instead wanted to broker a deal. They said, let's hush up the entire matter. Something again that becomes clear by this entire version. But the moment Republic, remember, started putting out details of the story, you've seen swift action by the DGCA, by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. And even as we speak, remember, the police is hunting down this pervert, this creep. First up, let's bring up the entire story, the investigation so far by our team and our Big Republic campaign, and then we debate.
About my appalling experience travelling with Air India business class flight AI-102 seat 9A from JFK to New Delhi on 26 November 2022. During the course of the flight, shortly after lunch was served and the lights were switched off, a male business class passenger seated in 8A walked to my seat completely inebriated. He unzipped his pants and urinated on me and kept standing there until the person sitting next to me tapped him and told him to go back to his seat, at which point he staggered back to his seat. I immediately got up to notify the stewardess of what had happened. My clothes, shoes and bag were soaked in urine. The bag contained my passport, travel documents and currency. The flight staff refused to touch them, sprayed my bag and shoes with disinfectant, and took me to the bathroom and gave me a set of airline pajamas and socks.
So what you actually just saw right now is an excerpt of that letter, that complaint that has been accessed by Republic, the complaint that was filed by the senior citizen who was urinated upon, who was flashed upon, and the crew also attempted to broker a deal. If this does not wake us up, ladies and gentlemen, I do not know what would. Let's say good evening to our panel of guests. I do see Sumitra Goenka, who's a policy and political analyst. Vipul Saxena is an aviation expert, and Manvi Huda is the practice lead in consulting and research of CAPA India. And Rahul Ishwar is an activist completing our panel. Let me take the first question to Vipul Saxena. He happens to be an aviation expert on the panel, and then we'll also get in Rahul Ishwar. Mr. Saxena, how do you see the entire sequence of events?
Firstly, I would like to congratulate Arnab and Republic team to take up such a serious matter, such a matter of social concern.
Thank you,
such
sir.
a level. And as far as this incident concerned, I think it is very shameful, horrifying incident. Should not have happened. And I don't think anybody can imagine such thing can happen with any person. Forget lady. With any person in a flight and by passengers travels by business class. I mean, he's supposed to be from a decent family background, decent education background. And I came to know that he is holding a VP position in an MNC. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I think this should be taken to task as a deterrent, as an exemplary case where the severe most action should be taken under IPC, and also by all the airlines should boycott this person, should put him on the no-fly list, and severe most action under the IPC should be taken against the person. Because if you don't set example, such incident
But
will not
today,
stop.
Mr. Saxena, no one knows where this man is. What is the tragedy is that no one knows where this man is. And, had Republic not put out these details, Rahul Ishwar, we would have never even known the name of this man because Air India wanted to conceal his identity. I do not know why. No matter how powerful the man is, Rahul, can we even defend what he's done? Is this even a fit case for an apology?
No, two things, ma'am. One, what happened was outrageous, atrocious, horrible and terrible. And every right-thinking Indian will appreciate Republic in taking up this issue. Having said that, but we shouldn't suspect a conspiracy theory behind everything. What has happened is horrible. There should be a due process. But airline has taken some steps. Airline has reported this. Airline has intimated the police. Airline has, taken some measures.
Rahul
so
Ishwar,
what happened was horrible. But we shouldn't search for a kind of conspiracy theory behind this.
Rahul Ishwar, I did not expect that you would anyways today be siding with Air India. If you allow me, I just want to read a few lines. A few lines of the complainant's letter where she indicates, Mr. Saxena, just 30 seconds, sir. She indicates, Rahul, listen to this carefully. She says, I stated clearly I did not want to interact with him or see his face. All that I wanted was for him to be arrested on arrival. However, the crew brought the offender before me against my wishes, and we were made to sit opposite each other in the crew seats. Then she says, Rahul, I was stunned when he started crying and apologizing to me, begging me to not lodge a complaint against him. She says, I was further disoriented by being made to confront and negotiate with the perpetrator of the horrific incident in close quarters. So, Rahul Ishwar, this, according to you, is a great step taken by Air India?
No, two things. One, what happened was terrible. We cannot even imagine somebody close to us, ever facing such a thing. But second, Air India has taken a step. Maybe, he was in a very drunk situation. They talked to him later. You can definitely apply, criminal procedure. But as far as I can understand, there is a process and procedure. There is a 10-day inquiry committee. They have to submit the report. Then they have to take actions. And I don't suspect any nefarious plot
Rahul
or any
Ishwar,
kind of
how can you
conspiracy
say this today? Mr. Saxena.
Yes, ma'am.
What procedure did
I would like
the
to add
Air
one more
India
thing.
crew,
I
the
think Air India
captain
thought
follow?
that
Can you please enlighten Rahul Ishwar?
Ma'am, I would like to add one more incident which took place on 6th of December in the Air India flight from Paris to Delhi. Similar incident.
Correct.
And the same modus operandi the crew tried by having a deal between the passenger, the victim, and the person who urinated on the passenger. So I think this is the way Air India wants to run the airline. I mean, so shocking that Air India, which was a big brand, and everybody thought that going back to Tata, Air India will regain its glory. I think it's going down the drain. And in this, not only Air India is guilty, I would say the pilot in command, the cabin crew, both are equally responsible because they did not report.
Absolutely, the captain, the crew, the airline, everyone, Rahul Ishwar. And how can today, Rahul Ishwar, you be batting for this creep? He's a pervert.
I know
And
nobody
Air India
will ever
wanted to
bat for
cover
that
up the
creep.
entire case.
Nobody will ever bat for that creep. But Tata is one of the most responsible and respected brands
So why are you batting
in
for
not
Air
only
India?
in
I don't
aviation.
understand.
No, Tata is one of the most respectable and respected and responsible brands in Indian aviation and in Indian entrepreneurship
Is this
industry.
respectful?
Yes.
Rahul Ishwar, how is this? How is this, for God's sake, respectable?
Yeah, this happened.
She's
with the
a
crew
senior
and There
citizen.
is a reporting committee. There is a
She's
reporting
urinated
committee.
upon. She's
I know, that's
flashed upon. The crew
horrifying.
does nothing. They give her a set of
horrifying and
pajamas
tragic.
and chappals. They make her
Yeah, that's
sit on the same seat that, he urinated upon. Can you
From
tell
the
me where is
information
respect in
available in
any of
public
this,
domain.
Rahul?
From the information available in public domain, they have also intimated the police too. So if there is any legal action, the police will take action. But beyond a point, you cannot blame crew for everything. You cannot blame Tata for everything. You cannot blame the airline. This particular
What an
pervert or a
absolute
creep
shame,
should be
Rahul
punished.
Ishwar.
But
I do not understand. I do not understand Sumitra today. Why do we... That's the problem. This is the problem, where you normalize such behavior. Rahul Ishwar, had this be a VVIP on the flight, would you have been speaking like this? Why today Air India cannot be questioned? I don't understand, Sumitra.
Yeah, so Dipti, first of all, thanks for taking up this topic. I think there are certain issues here, like outraging the modesty of the woman, misconduct by a drunk person, obscene act in public, violation of aircraft as well as safety rules. So these are not small things, So what has happened here is definitely a very big thing. You can just understand the trauma that this lady has gone through. And Tata, even though I would say Tata is a respectable group, it has every company has some standard operating procedures. There is a definite process violation here by the crew. There is a definite process violation which is happening because the incident should have been reported to the commander, and then the person should have been detained. You cannot let such a person go out of the airport premises. And in similar incidents which has happened, I read somewhere in a flight from London, a similar incidents like this happened, where they in fact even diverted the flight to the nearest airport because similar kind of incidents happened where it was between two brothers. It was not even a lady which was in picture. So this is something which was not expected from the Tata group, and I have seen no apology which has come from the Tata group, and this is not something which I can expect. I mean, really, this is a shame on the group which operates and does a lot of PR activities about its ethics and morals and about how
absolutely that's the point, Sumitra. And Rahul Ishwar, I still do not know, why does your heart even bleed for the Tata group?
Because
why does your heart beat for the Tata group today?
As the person earlier rightly told, as Sumitra ji rightly told, what happened is a criminal act. There is a lot of dimension involved. So there should be a proper investigation. And investigation will take time, and there is a due process. Second, he has been put on a no-fly list.
Allowed to leave the airport?
That's a very important. That's a very important
operating procedure.
Yeah, that's a very important question. And oversight seems to have happened.
The person was in custody. The person was not in custody. No
oversight, Rahul Ishwar, did you just say oversight? Because clearly, Sumitra, Rahul said oversight. He said oversight. This is the problem, Sumitra. This is the crux of the problem. Because people believe, and exactly what happens in a lot of cases of crime against women, though there is no comparison, Sumitra, but this is what people do. कि दोनों को साथ में बैठाते हैं, बात करते हैं, apology लेते हैं, बात खत्म हो जाएगी.
See, one more question you have to raise here is this person was in a drunken state. He was inebriated. Yeah. So we have also to see how much crew, how much liquor was being served on the flight by the crew. That should also be
Sumitra, all these are questions. All these are questions and investigation will answer. But where is Air India today? Air India does not believe it needs to come forward and apologize. Apologize for what the captain did. Apologize for how the crew behaved. Apologize, Rahul Ishwar, for the fact that they were trying to broker a deal between the two. Apologize for the fact that they allowed this pervert, this creep, Rahul Ishwar, to walk scot-free.
Air India needs to acknowledge the whole situation after an investigation. It's a very touchy matter. It's a very sensitive matter. It is something horrifying matter. No, Air India needs to acknowledge the whole situation after an investigation.
And what happened with this? What happened with the senior citizen, Rahul Ishwar?
This is a
Absolutely,
complete
that's the reason
No,
there is a
I think before I open this up,
for
for the second comments by all of you, Manvi hasn't spoken. Let's get Manvi on the screen also. You know, Manvi, do you even side with what Rahul Ishwar is saying? Because isn't this the biggest problem? There is this chalta hai attitude. Oh God, it is such a big brand. How can we question them? It might have just been an oversight. I mean, we pay so much to fly these airlines, and this is a business class. She's a senior citizen.
Sure. So, first of all, thank you, Deepthi, for having us and for taking up this topic. And I think from my standpoint, I certainly feel this was a bizarre incident, possibly in the history of Indian aviation. And the very fact that we are discussing this in a retrospective way makes it all the more alarming and highly condemnable. But however, there is a different aspect to it that as traffic increases multifold, unfortunately, we'll have many more such instances related to code of conduct from the passengers side. Unless these things are taken very seriously, these things are being handled proactively, not really in a reactive manner. We need to have a systemic and institutional response, but not a reaction post the incidents. And such cases are made examples, for the passengers. So forget about the justice given to the passengers, but what is the message are we trying to give to the people here, to the passenger here, that airlines are into a service industry. So, right. So we need to show people that they are being taken care of, and they can be at their comfort while they're in the air too. So certainly this is highly condemnable, and this really requires a serious action at various levels, not just at the airlines level, Deepthi. This certainly requires at a various levels from all the stakeholders.
Absolutely. You're right. It's not just the DGCA. It's not just the Ministry of Civil Aviation. It has to be, Air India. I do not know whether the crew is even sensitized enough to deal with an unruly passenger like this. Because see, if you have someone like a Rahul Ishwar, had you been on the same flight, tell me something, what would you have done? Had you seen all this happening?
Particular name is being flashed as the perpetrator of this particular crime, he should definitely be punished. He should be, exposed. There is no doubt regarding that. But, there is a limit to which we can blame the crew and the other people, because they are not the perpetrators of this. They might have seen such a situation. They have reacted into it in their wisdom at that point of time. Yes,
Rahul Ishwar, you today definitely have a brief from the Tata Group. Otherwise, I do not understand why and how today you should be batting for them.
Human beings.
Tell me one good thing that did it. One good thing did it. Did they actually apprehend this guy? The answer is no. Did they tell the complainant, ma'am, please take another seat? No. Rahul Ishwar, I hate to do this, Sumitra, but I have to ask him one more question then. Rahul Ishwar, had you been in the position of this senior citizen, God forbid, what would you have done? Would you have taken an apology and gone back home?
I would have anyway gone to police. But, apart from that, yes, one thing horrific happened. But crew blaming is not.
You would have not taken an apology?
No, crew blame is something horrifying like this.
You are in a flight. The captain has the jurisdiction. It's the captain's call. That is why the role of the crew and the captain here, Rahul Ishwar, I don't have to tell you this is important.
This happened on November 26th. And after
so did they do that? Did they call the CISF and did they inform them that we have an unruly passenger? Did they do that?
There are specific protocols to deal with unruly passengers. There are specific procedures
to take action then and there itself. The person should not have been let free. There are standard operating procedures, and Tatas have completely failed here. Tatas have completely failed here. There are standard operating procedures with which every crew has to be trained on. And if the person was allowed to leave the aircraft and go home, this is something which is not acceptable. He should have been apprehended at the airport. There had to be some kind of inquiry.
I do not accept the fact that the crew was not trained. Was the crew trained then, Sumitra, to broker a deal? Is this what they are taught? Is this a part of the standard operating procedure? Why did they do that?
This is a dereliction of duty. The crew probably tried to brush it under the carpet.
It is worse. It's called a cover-up. In plain, simple language, Sumitra, this is a cover-up. Mr. Saxena, Do you think this is a cover-up by Air India or not, sir? Unless and until this news came out in the press, unless and until you had Republic going all out, tracking everyone, putting out the story like we have done, Air India would not have even bothered to share names, basic details about the passenger. They still haven't. It's only that our investigation team has, dug out all these details. If this is not a cover-up, sir, what is?
It is cover-up, absolute cover-up. Not only cover-up, it's a serious violation of the set guidelines by the government, by the Civil Aviation Ministry on how to deal with the unruly passenger. It clearly says such passenger should be dealt deftly and ensure that safety is maintained, ensure the dignity of the passenger is maintained. And the cabin crew and captain of the aircraft, they are responsible to control the situation and report this matter immediately. Even to the extent that in case they find the safety is being compromised, they should land near to the nearest airfield. I mean, apart from that, even there are circulars which says that upon landing within 12 hours, this matter should be reported to DGCA. So there is no confusion as far as the procedure is concerned. But the fact is, Air India tried to hush up this matter. They thought it's easy going. चलता है चलेगा DGCA में किसी को भी बोल के हम केस दबा देंगे. But not. There are media channels like Republic who always get after this kind of things, and they don't bother whether it's a Tata or whether it's a Birla or whether it's whichever group it is. If there is something wrong being done to the society, Republic always takes it, and I think it is a great thing done by Republic. And now we must see that this person behind the bar, and an example is set by punishing this person severely, so that a strong message goes that you cannot.
I mean,
you cannot do
just
this
one addition. In
flight or anywhere with any passenger or any female.
Dipti, even the compliance,
Rahul first, then Sumitra.
Department has to be tracked, whether they knew about
So he was
the
very
incident
drunk. What happened
not
was
just the
horrible.
crew.
See, we should also see the context. From the
Rahul.
information available in the public domain, there is no
What is the context, Rahul?
enmity between these two people. What he did was absolutely
One second,
horrible.
Sumitra.
So later,
One by one, please.
when the crew heard that version, the crew might have gone for a talk. The crew should not have done that. It's a matter of investigation. That's the reason why we should wait for the report after the investigation. You can definitely question the crew.
Have you spoken, Rahul Ishwar, to the crew? Have they explained to you what happened?
No,
Rahul Ishwar. Have you spoken to the crew yourself?
I want to ask a question to the Tata group.
It's
Or
from
you
the
have a better
information
idea
available in the public
than
domain.
the complainant, who makes it very clear
Dipti,
in this
can I
letter
make a-
that in spite of her saying arrest him, they wanted to broker a deal. Tell me something,
Dipti,
why
can
did
I-
the crew do that?
Dipti, can I come in?
If this is not a cover-up, Rahul, then what is? What do you call this?
I mean, what is
Dipti,
the
can I
purpose
come
of
in?
Air India crew covering up? Let us be honest about it. For what
Sumitra, one
reason
second.
can
Let Rahul
Air India
complete
can
his
think
point.
of covering this up? For what purpose a brand like Air India, which is respected by everyone, can think of covering this up? They might have misread the situation. It was a
Baba,
mistake
you have
of
to earn
judgment.
that respect, Rahul Ishwar. Rahul Ishwar, no matter what you say today, you can sing paeans about the Tata Group, about Air India. Not that is the story. The story is the fact that you had an airline that does a cover-up. You have an airline that allow a man to walk scot-free, a man who urinates on a co-passenger, who flashes, and who goes scot-free. And the
Cover-up is
airline
a
in
strong
question
word.
happens to be Air India, Rahul Ishwar.
Cover up is too strong a word.
Dipti, can I come
When
in?
we use words like cover up, it's a very strong word. It's
Then
a
what
matter
is
of
this?
investigation. It's a matter of investigation.
Dipti,
The investigation should reveal whether it is a cover
What
up.
is left to
the Tata Group,
investigate?
please? Dipti, I want to ask a question to the
Yes,
Tata Group.
Sumitra.
So here clearly the business conduct guidelines have been violated. So I want to know from the Tata Group, did they conduct the investigation, internal inquiry? Is the crew, the commander, the HR, the people who do compliance, are the safety, air safety people who work with Air India, that is the Tata Group, have they all been questioned? What action has Tata Group taken? Because do you mean to say that from 26th of November
Nothing.
till now, that is 40 days, no action has been taken internally, also no inquiry has been conducted, and this entire incident has gone unreported?
No,
If that is
because
the
you know
case,
why,
then,
Sumitra?
Air India
Sumitra,
should be
what sources
accountable to
say
DGCA.
is that there was a settlement reached. There was a settlement reached. There was an apology given.
No, but
Sumitra,
But
that is
that
their
also does not
response.
absolve themselves from reporting the incidents. See, reporting such kind of incidents is altogether a
Absolutely.
different thing. It is
That
a
is why,
business
Rahul
conduct
Ishwar, this
guideline
is
that you have
nothing
to
short
report the
of a
incidents.
cover-up.
Whether
Rahul
the
Ishwar,
settlement
cover
is
up.
reached or not.
2
That is
points.
the word.
You know, when we
That
read
does
through
not
the
apply to-
guidelines, when we read through the guidelines and we understand the regulations, yes, they should have reported. Reporting is absolutely yes. But, you know, there should be a context to it. There should be an inquiry into it, whether it's a cover-up, whether it was a lapse of judgment, whether it was an error in judgment, whether it was a conscious cover-up. These things should reveal itself in an investigation.
Rahul
We cannot jump the
Rahul
gun.
Ishwar.
Justice hurried is
Rahul
justice
Ishwar,
buried.
I asked you a
Justice
simple
hurried
question.
is justice buried.
God forbid, had you been on that flight, had any one of your relatives been on that flight, in the place of the senior citizen,
We all share that
any known
outrage.
person, you would have agreed with an apology.
I don't agree with you
You
today.
do not
The kind
think
of
that this is
support
an
you are
issue
showing
we
to
should be
Tata Group
outraged
is
about?
absolutely
You
That
do
is
not
the
think
reason
the
why.
airline
That's the
needs to
reason
be
why.
accountable,
Beyond
Rahul?
spectrums, every Indian respects Republic, because Republic took such a difficult issue, a sensitive issue. But we need to go slow and steady. We cannot rush. There
But then
cannot
why
be
is Rahul
instant
Ishwar
justice.
defending
We
Air
don't
India?
live in a land
Why
where
is
there
Rahul
is instant
Ishwar
justice.
defending the cover-up
We
of
need
Air
to have
India?
due process.
That is what I want to
Instant
know.
justice is not possible. Due process of law
What
should
is
be
the due
followed.
process?
Natural
The
justice.
incident happens in the last week of November, Rahul Ishwar. In spite of that, it is not reported to the DGCA. The reason why the DGCA has also cracked the whip, and I'm not sure if you've read this statement, it makes it very clear the conduct of the concerned airline appears to be unprofessional. It has led to a systemic failure. Rahul Ishwar says it lacks appreciation of the regulatory obligations as described in the rules, and this is devoid of empathy. If this is not indictment, Rahul Ishwar, if this is not telling you of the cover-up by Air India, what is? Why is Rahul Ishwar still defending Air India?
Two submissions,
I
ma'am.
have
There is
doubts
no
that
mention
there
of the
could be
word
many
cover-up.
such more
There is
incidents
no
which have
mention
gone
of the word
unreported.
cover-up. Second, things are going in the right
Absolutely.
direction. It
Sumitra, I
may
agree
not
with
be
you.
going the speed we like. It may not be going in the sixth gear
Because
as we
you know,
like.
there is
Maybe
no
it is going in the second
stringent
gear.
action taken
But it is
against
on the
any
right
unruly
process.
passenger.
The person should be
There may be lot of
identified. There
Mr.
should be a police
Saxena
complaint.
doesn't
There should
agree
be a
with you.
natural
Mr.
justice.
There could be
Saxena.
more such incidents.
Mr.
which have
Saxena,
gone
for the
unreported in
last, many hours, this is one story that has bothered all of us. Everyone is agitated. Everyone wants the Tata Group. They want Air India to apologize, to act, to explain to us why did the crew do this. But it's only Rahul Ishwar who's batting for them.
Ma'am, for the
Due process.
Rahul information, this incident took place in November and 6
What is
December.
due process?
Similar incident
Don't
took
drop
place on
heavy words, when
same Air India.
everything is
Same
by
Air
due
India,
process. Yes, Mr.
Same
Saxena.
thing happened on again Air India on 6 December Paris-Delhi flight, where again a passenger has urinated on another passenger.
Yes.
And still Air India is quiet. And again the cabin
And an
crew
apology.
and the captain they tried
Exactly
to,
the same modus operandi.
The passenger and the victim.
Put out an apology, hush up the case, and think everyone will forget this. That's the pattern, Rahul Ishwar, what Mr. Saxena has just
2
outlined.
points. Even though I disagree with many of the points, many of the panelists said, we all share the same outrage. But the only difference is, I'm only batting for a due process of law. We should go slow and steady. We cannot jump the gun. We cannot hurry the
law was
justice
not
process.
followed,
There is
Rahul.
a
What do you mean
particular
slow and
process we have to
steady?
follow. And
Sumitra,
this person should
Sumitra.
definitely be punished.
What
He's
is
already
Rahul
under
Ishwar
the
wanting?
police, and there should be more serious punishment to him. But there is a due process. We cannot jump the gun. We cannot jump the gun and fire a person.
What
There
about
has
the
to be
crew?
due
What about the
process.
captain? Rahul
Yeah,
Ishwar,
that's
what
a
about the
subject-
crew?
that's a matter
What
of
about the
investigation.
captain? What about the
That's a
airline?
matter of investigation.
The
Usually there is a
pervert
report
will be
after every
handled by
flight.
the cops. I want to know what about the crew? What about the captain? What about the airline?
Generally, after every flight, from the information in the public domain, they submit a report.
Maybe I
We
have
have
to
to
go to
see
other
whether
channel.
this is mentioned in the
I
report.
would like to
We
read.
have to see whether they reported. So we have to go slow in this. Yes, definitely catch the person.
No, they did
definitely
not.
punish him. But
They did
don't
not,
blame-
Rahul Ishwar.
don't
We've checked our
carpet bomb
facts.
Air India, especially Air
Air
India,
India
is in a
did not
transition stage.
report
They
this
are
to the
trying to revive
regulator.
their
They gave
fortune.
absolutely
Air-
no information to the DGCA. The reason why
Air
they
India is
have
in a
been
stage of
handed out
coming
a
back.
show
Air
cause
India has
notice.
suffered
So
many
please stop
setbacks.
defending
Air
Air
India is
India. And when you
reviving
come to
itself
the
like a
show,
phoenix.
Rahul,
Let us
please
not
get some
cut the
basic
wings of Air
facts
India.
right. Because just Rahul, for the fact that someone is high and mighty does not mean that we will not question them. Mr. Saxena.
Yeah. Nidhi, can you repeat, please?
Mr. Saxena, why is today Rahul
can I repeat,
Ishwar
please?
still wanting to defend the airline? Is the fault only of this creep? We should not ask questions to Air India, not ask questions to the captain, and definitely not to the crew.
Not at all, Nidhi. I would recommend to the Minister of Civil Aviation to order an independent inquiry which should not be controlled by Air India at all. Rather, Air India should be called as a accused. They should be made accused. The captain of the aircraft should be suspended. The cabin crew should be suspended till inquiry is over. And thereafter, not only against the passenger, against Air India, captain of the aircraft and the cabin crew. Stringent action should be taken. Exemplary action should be taken. Deterrent action should be taken. Then only we can see
they should have been suspended by now, Mr. Saxena, but that unfortunately has not happened, sir. With your permission, I just want to talk a little bit about these images that are just coming in live. Remember, the crew of that aircraft right now are also being questioned. And we have those first images that you see on your screens right now. Republic has been able to access those visuals. Even though there is a lookout circular against the creep Shankar Mishra, the crew today is being questioned. All this happening only and only after a big Republic campaign. Because do remember, Air India did not want to talk about this. They wanted the story to be under wraps. You had a very, very muted coverage. It's only after the big Republic campaign today that things have started to move. On the other side, we pick up more details on this big story. Don't go anywhere.
Amity faculty have filed over 1,700 patents. Yet another reason why Amity has been conferred with the National Intellectual Property Award by Government of India for being the top Indian academic institution for patents and commercialization.
First of all, for past 2 months, there have been various issues which has been popping up in Tamil Nadu. That is from BJP only. Okay. And sincerely, I would like to only question in which way Annamalai has supported any woman. In which way he has supported. Be it, there was a audio leak with Daisy Charan and Trichy Surya. He actually made a compromise and he actually suspended the person, Trichy Surya. But it just vanished away. The problem, he did not accept his resignation. Basically, he's a habitual offender, Trichy Surya. And he's not only done that to one person, he's done it to Alish Abdullah, which also came in the same month. Yes. And then she has also openly came out to the press and told that, the person is spoken very badly. And he's apparently very close aide of Annamalai. Now, today, he's saying that I will not accept his resignation. And in which way is he voicing out for women? Where he has actually openly spoken about me in front of 150 people, speaking about Dubai in a very absurd way, in abusive way, inducing a very wrong idea about a woman, especially me. And then